Hey everybody, welcome to a real quick update here on Bitcoin. I want to take a look at this. Obviously, Bitcoin is the market leader. It is the asset that controls the price of almost the entire crypto space. I say almost because there are some exceptions to that rule. So I do want to take a real quick moment to talk about a couple things here. Take a look at a few different, different aspects of the market, taking a look at our main market overview, and then also taking a look at our leverage that we were kind of taking a look at yesterday. So let's just go ahead and get right into it here. But of course, as I get into this, if this helps you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, and we're here to expand our community of like-minded individuals. So if you would like to join our little community that we have on Discord, just throw in a comment and I'll get an invite code out to you. All right, so I want to take a look at a few different metrics here. I'm looking here at the 12-hour chart. I'm going to move down to a 1-hour chart, and then we can kind of drill down. Obviously, this hourly candle that we are currently in the middle of right now, with about 3 minutes left, does not look very good. It honestly does not look very good at all. So I do have a bit of a bearish bias. Overall, my bias is bearish, but I was under the assumption yesterday that we were going to see a little bit of a relief rally. That hasn't happened yet, but that could happen at a moment's notice. So let's just take a look at our stochastics here. So again, I'm on an hourly time frame, and as you know, if you've been watching my videos for any amount of time, you know that I've got the green 1 hour, the orange 2 hour, I've got the 3 hour in yellow, the 4 hour in blue, the 6 hour in cyan, and the 12 hour in red. I like to take a look at all of these different time frames all at once just to kind of get an idea of where this trend might be heading. The only one that really has been bullish was the 12 hour. We had our 6 hour, which was kind of trending up a little bit, but it has, it rolled over actually a little while back, and it's probably crossed at this point to the downside, a bearish cross on those stochastics. The 4 hour was moving down. The hourly was kind of moving down. We don't really necessarily have a bullish divergence, a good bullish divergence set up here. So we have our bottom, which was, we had a pivot rather, I wouldn't say a bottom. We had a pivot back here, and so this is when we were kind of in this range. And so if we do see a pivot to the upside, we could get a little bit of bullish divergence on the hourly. I think it's really obviously too early to tell, seeing that there's only 2 minutes left in this candle, and we really haven't seen a move to the upside quite yet as far as the price action goes. But with Bitcoin currently being at about 6,900, it could be that we do consolidate here for a little bit and then roll over. I'm very interested in the 67.85 mark, and I'll talk about that price here in just a moment. I am very interested in 67.85. So again, the 4 hour is trying to curl back up, which is really quite interesting that we see this trying to move up with the price action moving down the way that it is. As soon as this 4 hour closes, is very likely that this is going to continue to the downside. But again, we're gonna have to wait and see what the what the hourly, the 2 hour, the 3 hour, and the 4 hour candles, how they close. If we get a good spring off of that push down to 6,800, obviously that would be ideal. That would be a good sign that we are maybe starting reversal. But if we consolidate down here, if we continue to consolidate below, at this point we're looking at a consolidation below 7,000. If we continue to consolidate below 7,000, I do think that our hopes and dreams of seeing Bitcoin back down to this 5,800 mark are going to be greater and greater. Seeing Bitcoin back down here to 6,000, 61, 6,200. This is very likely going to come to fruition. There we go. I fixed that. Moved myself to linear rather than logarithmic. This is where this point comes into play down here again at 5,800. So again, we've been looking at that for a while. I do say that we had a good move to the upside here, and we have a correction. We have to get one more wave up, in my opinion. We do need to get one more wave to the upside, and where that lands, I'm not really sure. At this point, it may only get up to about 74 to 7,600. It may not get up to where we were kind of originally seeing this play out. up to 8,100 to 8,400. That's where we originally were looking at, but at this point, it's not looking like that's going to happen. And just to keep in mind, while I am interested in playing small swings here, I am very interested in shorting at this level at 8,200 to 8,400. Very interested in shorting at this level if we're able to get up there. I do think that that is a place where some of the longs that are over leveraged will be looking to get out of their underwater positions. I'll talk about that here in a moment. But I'm very interested in taking a more long-term short up here at 82 to 8,400. Obviously, I missed 7,900 by like $20 or so. This is where I had one of my my sell orders in and I missed it. I had a sell order of 7,900. I had one at 8,000, 8,200, and then finally 8,400. And none of them filled. I did have a short order that was filled in this general area back here, but I was trying to get more position in a higher entry, but that didn't fill. Nonetheless, that position is doing quite well at this point, and I haven't closed out of that short just quite yet. I'm interested in hedging a long position if we do see a bullish spring back up above 7,000. If we can get back up above 7,000, I think that we have great potential for a movement up to 7,400, 7,600. Maybe 8,000, but I'm not going to have any hopes and dreams for that. I would be very skeptical of opening any long positions at this point unless we can move up above 7,000. So just be very careful. Be very careful for that. Okay, let's take a look at our leverage chart. So I've made some adjustments to the leverage chart that I have, and let me just kind of pull this up here and just take a look and see what has happened. I'm on an hourly time frame, and as you can see, our longs have been moving up. They've been over leveraging, and the price went down. But the very interesting thing, I'm going to move down to a 15-minute chart and show you this. When the price went down, and actually I'm just going to go ahead and move to a 3-minute time frame since we're looking at this, just from the last hour. When this price collapsed, longs didn't do a thing. They actually increased a little bit. People are buying the dip down here. So that is very interesting. And as we know, most of these long positions opened when Bitcoin is in this price phase. Going back to a 15-minute time frame, and we outlined this, long started increasing back here at 1500 hours on November 22nd. And that is when Bitcoin, was sitting, right here between $7,116 to $7,300. This range is when these longs started increasing. We saw a much more rapid increase when we were down below where we currently are. So when Bitcoin was down below $6,800, that's when these longs increased even more. So that leads me to believe that in order for longs to capitulate, we have to go below our swing low here at like $6,500. That's significant. That is very significant to keep in mind. If we get a break below, I say $6,700, $6,600, $6,500, that's when more than likely than not these longs are going to start closing. But right now, with this current price action, I'm going to go back to the 3-minute chart here. With the price going down, longs have increased, and you can see back here, although it's hard to see here, around this price, we saw shorts were actually decreasing. We had a 50% increase in the amount of shorts that were open. We got up to let's see here, what would this be? Approximately 87, 8,800. We dropped down to about 7,000, but maybe about 7,500. And now we're seeing shorts start to increase again. So shorts are increasing here in this level. Longs are increasing in this level, but the price has dropped significantly. So we have seen a drop from where we currently are. From where we were, we've seen a drop of about 2.74%. And if you're at 10x leverage, that's a 27% increase. So that is looking pretty good for shorts right now. But how long is that going to last is a really great question. So we're sitting below 6,900. We're hovering right at the 6,900 level. I say that I'm not bullish unless we go back up above 7,000. It is very possible that we do take a move up to 6,950, 6,960, but at this point we're really on shaky ground. One other thing that I do want to take a look at here, I want to take a look at the heat maps on BitMEX. So let's take a look at the order maps here. I'm going to collapse what we've got, and I just want to take a look at the data that I look at when I'm taking a look at these charts. Something that I saw right up here, we saw lots of liquidity to the upside. These are either going to be longs that were trying to close their longs, or these are people trying to short. And none of these orders got filled. You could see here there was really no liquidity in this zone, so it didn't take much for us to get up to this 7170, 7180 mark. It didn't take a whole lot to get there. You saw there was some shorts or long closures that were able to be closed at about 7120. And let me just go ahead and zoom in on that and show you what I'm seeing here. So we can see right here, a pretty big order popped in, and this was this morning. We saw a pretty big order about 8:30 this morning Eastern time that got filled. And the price moved up a little bit. We had an overthrow where there were some other orders that got filled, but the main one that I'm very interested in here is the one at 7120. And then we saw a rollover, and then for about 20 minutes or so, this is a very interesting sandwich that we saw. I don't know if that's the technical term for it. That's what I'm going to call it. With huge order to the upside, huge orders to the downside, and then we broke through. But this order filled. This order filled, and this is an order that was about 7,080 to 7,085. Not very precise on where this price action was. Moved up to the upside, and then we just completely collapsed about let's see here, 10, 20, 30, 40, almost an hour later. And then we saw, of course, significant moves to the downside. This knife catcher got wrecked. Unless this was a brand new, if this was a brand new order to long Bitcoin, this completely got it just demolished. This is how support and resistance lines get created. So this person, if it was a brand new long position, they're going to be looking to close at break even, or as close to break even as possible if they didn't have a good stop loss. And if they did, we saw there is right here a couple orders that got filled. This order closed their order as they saw this price come down as rapidly as it did. You can tell that they closed their order because you could see here that it was a big order and the big order reduced, and then that reduced order did get filled, but the big portion of that order did get reduced, likely got moved down here to about 68.50. That did get filled. So now we're just consolidating here, waiting to see what happens next. We are in a very clear range, so we've got a good upper here at about, again, that's sitting there at about 69.10, and then we have a good lower range right here, which we haven't really closed below on a 5-minute time frame, which is going to be sitting here right here at about 68.90. I would say if we start closing 5-minute candles below 68.90, we are going to see a move back down to 6,800 potentially. You can see obviously there's a big order here at 6,800, another big order down here at 67.50, which has been increasing. So right here at 67.55 and here at 67.50, the orders have been increasing. The color is becoming brighter and brighter. So the more blue the order is, the smaller the order is. The more yellow the order is, the larger the order is. So we've got sort of like a magenta order here, and then we've got our bright yellow order here. So these are pretty big orders that are sitting down here. Again, waiting to see what happens if we break down through this. But my bias is that we will be heading back down to 6,800. I do think that we will be creating a little bit of a bear flag, and then we will see a move to the downside. And a bear flag doesn't mean we're just going to move sideways. Bear flags can move to the upside. We could come back up to 69.50, but I will flip bullish again if we start closing above 7,000. For right now, my short position, not closing out. I'm interested in hedging a long position down at the 6,800 level. If I can get a long position down there, very interested in that. Hello, is it Rohit? I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, but thanks for joining. I saw that you subscribed here recently, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, so this is kind of my bias. I'm saying that, unless we can overtake 7,000, I do think that we will see a little bit more downside. But right now, it's really not not interested in taking any trades here, even though we are kind of sandwiched right here again between 68.90 and 69.10. But I do think that we will have a little bit of downside, and no worries on doubting me. And you know what? People are right, people are wrong. That's just the way it is sometimes. But you know, Bitcoin does rule the market. I do think that VeChain does have significant upside potential, but you know, it's just going to take time for us to allow that correction to take place. Nonetheless, this is kind of what I thought here on Bitcoin. I was watching this dump take place, and then you know, seeing a decent spring down here at 68.20 or so, but you know, we're now trading 5-minute candles down here at the 68.85 level. So I'm going to be watching this to see how this happens. But again, I am interested in hedging a long position, not closing my short position. I'm interested in hedging a long position down to the 6,800 level and just kind of waiting that out and seeing how it goes. But yeah, for right now, that's what I've got for you. Of course, like, subscribe, share, you know, and subscribe if you find any of this information helpful as we watch Bitcoin continue to move to the downside at 68.75. Bitcoin likely will go below 6,000 by end of year. I am consistently looking at a move down to 5,800 over the next month. But thanks for joining in, and have a good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are in the world.